You're listening to Sports and More with Chris and Thom. Take it away, sir. Sorry about that.
Welcome back. It's guys with the Faces for Radio and the Voices for a Silent Movie.
This is Sports and More with Chris and Thom. I am Chris.
And I am Thom.
We have a reveal. Oh, new shirt. I like it.
New shirt.
I like it.
Got it for Christmas.
Love it.
Awesome present.
Yeah.
And just for those watching or not watching, this is a Sports and More with Chris and Thom t-shirt.
I love it.
It's not merch though.
Oh man.
Don't get too excited. It's a one-off.
Yeah.
If we get enough people, I think we'd have to have multiple people interested before we do this. But my sister-in-law made it. She has like one of those cricket or press t-shirt press sort of machines, I think. Or is she? I don't know. She has something connection-wise that she can make t-shirts.
Nice.
Or her sister-in-law can make t-shirts. Someone in the family made it, and then she brought it up and gave it to me, via Morgan. It's awesome.
Very nice. Sorry, guys, for the early cut to the scene, but I was distracted because my dog was running like a crazy person, and I got distracted.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
and one more thing I showed you before this, but
yeah.
Sports and More.
The Sports and More mug. Yeah. Sports and More mug. Here we go.
I just noticed this. It just says Sports with Chris and Thom because the logo keeps going this way.
Yeah, the M more we keep going.
Only so much room you can use. Hey, I'll take it. That's still cool.
We do the sports very often on this show.
We do the sports.
Yes.
And speaking of sports, well, we're going to go to the circus.
Yeah.
The NFL.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown clowns himself again.
Oh, yeah.
On Sunday, January 2nd, we got to witness just one of the weirdest things. Not the weirdest. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens in football.
It might have been the weirdest thing.
Maybe, definitely this year.
Yeah.
This year. That has happened in the league this year. In the middle of the Bucs-Jets game, Antonio Brown took off his pads, his shirt, and his gloves, and his helmet, and just threw them on the ground and threw the shirt and the gloves in the crowd. And then he pumped up the crowd and ran off the field, through the end zone. So he was on the field when this happened. So I don't know. Assuming it was during a timeout or something like that. But the crowd, no. I never actually saw whether it was
the Bucs were on the field on offense, going about their drive in the huddle, trying to decide what play they're going to run.
I never actually saw what. Yeah, I never went back and saw the lead up to that. All I saw was Mike Evans trying to convince him not to take his pads off.
Yeah.
And then, the rest of it actually happening and him running through the field into the locker room. The crowd going nuts.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they're assuming this is his swan song.
Yeah.
This is he's retiring and this is his exit in the only way that Antonio Brown knows how. But he ran off the field. And, of course, the rumors are starting of whether he's, retiring or, cut from the team or whatever. But nobody knows anything for sure.
We know nothing.
We thought we knew. We thought we knew what was released, but apparently that is not concrete.
No.
The most solid thing that we know is a coach on the Bucs tried to get Brown back in the game. Brown said his ankle hurt, and then Arians said, possibly sarcastically or maybe just for real, go home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you would think that Brown would maybe be cut or suspended for something like that, or fined at least. I don't know. Maybe he is fined. We just don't know. It hasn't been released at all. But nothing, because the NFL is investigating what's going on. But as far as concrete knowledge of what the whole situation is, all we know is Bruce Arians apparently told him to go home, jokingly, seriously, whatever. And then after the game, was quoted saying that he was no longer a Buck, which seemed concrete to me.
Yep.
That just made me think that there was a whole falling out between him and Brown. But apparently that's not the case because he's still on the roster. And then he's got to be going through some stuff right now that's just really messing with his mind
Yeah.
because Tom Brady also I don't know I can't remember if it was a tweet or in
Yep.
a
Interview
question in an interview
right
he
after the
said
game.
that right after the game he said he really needs
Yep.
someone to be with him right now. He
Mm-hmm.
needs someone to be on his side. And like, okay, so he's going through some stuff,
Right.
but that's quite the response to
Yep.
just going through some stuff when coach is telling you to go home jokingly when you're hurt with an ankle, hurt
Yep.
possibly. I don't know if it was legit injury or not, or if it was just being a diva. We don't know anything for sure yet because nothing has officially been released.
So what I've been able to gather from listening to Rick Stroud, who is a writer at the Tampa Bay Times, who's kind of like the Tom Curran of the Tampa Bay area. If you guys know who Tom Curran is in New England Patriots land, he's been saying that Antonio Brown's camp has said that he was hurt. His ankle hurt really bad. He couldn't play. He was going on the field despite his injury, which is odd because the week before he had 11 catches for 100 something yards and a touchdown. He looks good enough to break a guy's ankles out against the Jets, and so apparently, and he did have an ankle injury before he got put on. He was suspended for having a fake vaccination card. We will that's a whole other story about
Well,
what
yeah, we
happened
won't
there.
go into that tonight.
It plays some fact into this, but it's not the catalyst for what happened. And so Brown went to get a second
No.
opinion, and they said that this doctor, no one knows who the doctor is, said that it's actually an injury. So we don't know if it's Dr. Kevorkian or is it Dr. I don't know, Dr. Oz. I don't know who at this point is the doctor who's saying that it's really hurt. But that's what Brown's saying was that he was injured and he was told to go out there despite being injured. The Bucks have said nothing because they don't want to put themselves in legal jeopardy, is my guess, because the NFL is investigating to see if the Bucks did something wrong to put him in the game despite him being hurt, or this was Brown just being a diva, which according to Rick Shaw, he thinks is more likely the case because he's been paranoid since he came back from suspension, thinking that the Bucks don't trust him anymore and don't want to give him any, don't trust him for anything, don't want him involved in the offense, which makes no sense because the week before he got all the touches he wanted because they needed a receiver. So I don't know. It sounds like AB is in his head right now, and that's not a good place for AB because AB's mind is a crazy world, as we've seen for the last, I don't know, 7 years, give or take. His
As
whole
long as he's
life.
been in the league,
His whole life. I mean, there's stories from high school and college where he's the exact same dude. He's been this just odd the whole time. And a lot of people say it's the Vontaze perfect head. It's the CTE. I'm like, but people say it was like this before that. So unless there's a hit in high school that caused this, this just might be his makeup, and he needs to find help. People.
he needs to figure out um, the balance between his emotions and keeping that in check because obviously this was an emotional response. This was
Oh, 100%.
um, a, a
It
quick,
was irrational.
not really well thought out. Yeah, irrational. I mean, he did not think this through exactly what he was doing, and I mean honestly, for someone to do that, I mean, if you saw um, someone else in the league just doing that, a high caliber player
Yep.
like that, or even on that team, someone lower down on the totem pole, running off the field padless and shirtless, they're going to get cut from the team. They're going to get fined. They're
Yep.
going to get suspended. But because of where he is in the spotlight, none of that has happened yet. I mean, but think about what that says about the Bucks as an organization. Is they're not, and sure they're being investigated, so they have to be a little bit careful about what they do. But the fact that they weren't even willing, they're not going to be willing to give any sort of punishment to this after the investigation. I can guarantee they won't do a thing about it. For one, time will have passed. If anything, they may just not renew his contract or cut him at the end of the season just to have a legal end to it, with the season being that end point. But I knew from the start, him coming on to any team, but especially a team with Tom Brady, where he's not the star, AB is not the star, he's going to do things to put himself in the spotlight, and he proved it this weekend.
Yep. I mean, before that, he was the model citizen. He didn't do anything wrong outside of the whole fake COVID card thing. He had shown that he had
Sure.
somewhat matured and was turning over a new leaf, but it was. Uh, I had to think.
It's always living in the back
yeah,
of his
yeah,
mind of
right.
that it's time to be AB. It's time to have the center stage.
I mean, it could just be the Bucks don't want to cut him because they don't want someone else to pick him up and then use him against them, which they would because it's the NFL. Anything you can get, they're going to use against you. And if they can find a player of AB who is still a talented wide receiver, do not get me wrong, he may be 33 years old. He can still ball.
That's true.
I mean, he's on chance 6 at this point in time. He's still going to get another one if the league allows it. So Josh Gordon's on 12 and try 12 at this point. He is still on the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, if Josh Gordon can get try 12, AB can get try 24 at this point. Because I mean, that's how the NFL works. I'm sorry, guys. That's how it works. If you can play, you're going to get on that field. No matter how crazy, cuckoo, giant amount of yards of the team, you will get on that football field.
Well, there you have it. I mean, he's on the roster, but not without making quite a statement before the end of that game this past weekend. Chris, now that we've gone a little bit long on the intro topic, as we do, why don't you give us a quick rundown of the regular season standings in the NFL?
Okay,
and then we're going to get into some playoffs.
Oh, of course, because I love giving playoff scenarios, going to the final week of the season. I love this kind of stuff. This is what I live for. In the NFC North, that evil green yellow team, that franchise from Green Bay, Wisconsin, as we all know, clinched the NFC North a while ago. And they are the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's done. It's over. They have that top spot. They do not have to play anybody this week, so they can rest, which I doubt they do. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC South have won the division, like we said a couple weeks ago. They are still fighting for seeding with the Rams and the Cardinals and Cowboys for the number 2 spot, so they will be playing to win against I believe they're playing the Panthers. I have to check that one real quick. But I don't think they're playing one of any significance. In the NFC East, Cowboys have, of course, won the NFC East. They're, again, of course, for playoff seeding, so they will be playing all out in their game. In the NFC West, the Rams hold a 1-game lead over the Cardinals. That division is in doubt because, again, 1-game lead, 1 game to go is not over just yet. In the AFC North, let me say it with my chest. The Cincinnati Bengals have won the AFC North. Yes, you heard that right. The Bengals have won the AFC North. It is a truth. It is fact. It is craziness, but it happened. In the AFC South, the Titans have won the division and are currently the number 1 seed in the AFC, despite no Derrick Henry, despite no Julio Jones, despite no A.J. Brown. How the heck did they pull this off? Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, changed my mind. In the AFC East, the Bills and Patriots are tied, with the Bills holding the tiebreaker, and which leads to a crazy Week 18. And in the AFC West, the Chiefs have won the division with a crazy game coming with the Chargers and Raiders, which I will get into in just 1 minute. Those are your standings as they stand. Of course, going into Week 18, there are no games happening tonight. Thank God. As I know, on Wednesday, we get to just say, hey, here are your standings. Deal with it, peoples. I like this a lot better than a Monday.
Yeah, we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that Monday stuff or the things happening as we're talking, and it's going to affect that week. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Well, appreciate you giving us the rundown. Certainly, some of the playoff picture, a lot of the playoff picture is complete.
Yes.
But you know what? You have some scenarios you want to play out.
Absolutely.
About different ways that the playoffs could end up looking by the first week of it. I just want you go ahead and you have the stage. I'll kind of just pop in whenever, but this is kind of your area. You like talking about these playoff scenarios.
Oh, they're
what
fun.
Could happen, the what ifs. You like that, man. So go ahead.
It's fantastic. So we'll start with the NFC because it has the most things settled. 6 teams are in already. We are just waiting for one more team and one division to be settled, so it's a lot less crazy. As I said, the evil green and yellow team, that demonic franchise out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, are the 1 seed. They have the NFC North. It's over and done with. The Rams are the current 2 seed, but they've not clinched the division. They can clinch the NFC West with a win over the Niners, or a tie with them, or the Cardinals loss or tie against the Seahawks, I believe is who they're playing. The Buccaneers have the NFC South. The only thing they can do is move up to the 2 seed. There's not much they can do outside of going up to 2 or down to 4. They're stuck pretty much at 3. The Cowboys have the NFC East. They can only go up to 2 or stay at 4. There's not much they can change there. So sorry, guys, not much going on. The Cardinals are the 5 seed, and they have one scenario and one scenario alone where they can clinch the NFC West, and that is a win and Rams loss. Otherwise, they're the 5 seed. That's it. Simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The 49ers are not in the playoffs right now. They are the 6th seed, but they have not clinched a playoff berth. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win or a tie against the Rams or a loss or tie by the Saints. The Philadelphia Eagles, the 7th seed, with Nick Sirianni, who is playing rock, paper, scissors with free agents in the offseason, is the 7th seed at 9-7. Rock, paper, scissors, man, is in the playoffs. And he got mocked for that. He's in the playoffs. He must know something we don't about rock, paper, scissors. And probably was playing Lizard Spock at the same time as well in the rock, paper, scissors scenario. The Saints, the current 8th seed, can clinch a playoff berth with a victory over the Falcons and a 49ers loss against the Rams. Very, very doable because the Rams are playing for the division and the Saints are playing. The Falcons don't have anything to play for except for playing spoiler, which they would love to do against an arch rival. So NFC, rather simple. It's win and get in at this point for a lot of teams, and it's just straightforward. Now we get to the AFC, where Crazy-Coocoo-Banana things can happen because it's shenanigans galore.
Love the Crazy-Coocoo-Banana.
It's shenanigans. The Titans have the AFC South. They have that much intact. They are the current 1 seed. To retain the 1 seed, they need to win their game against the Texans. Simple enough. It's the Texans. However, the Texans beat the Titans earlier this season, so that's not a guarantee that it will happen. They can also clinch it by a tie and the Chiefs loss or tie. They can also clinch with the Chiefs loss, Bengals loss or tie, or Patriots and a Patriots loss or tie. They can also clinch if the Chiefs lose, Bengals lose or tie, and the Bills win. So they have 4 scenarios to clinch the division. Simplest being they win their freaking game against the Texans. I mean,
that may be the deepest into a rabbit hole we've gone on what has to happen.
Oh, we're not done yet.
There's, I know, but for one team, that's
just
getting into it. All
to
right.
clinch the 1 seed, and they're the 1 seed already.
Just for the 1 seed, yeah.
All right, the Chiefs have clinched the AFC West, like we said, but to clinch the 1 seed, they need to win and the Titans to lose or tie, or they need to have a tie and the Titans to lose. Kind of simple.
The opposite of what we just said.
Kind of simple. The Bengals have clinched the AFC North, and they have a chance to clinch the 1 seed. Yes, the Bengals can be the 1 seed, but to do that, they need to win their game, the Titans to lose to the Texans, the Chiefs to lose to the Broncos, and the Patriots to lose or tie against the Dolphins, I believe is who they're playing. Don't call me that. You can check that for me later. Or they need to win Titans to lose to the Texans, Chiefs to lose to the Broncos, and the Bills to beat the Jets. All very doable outside the Broncos not playing to win. And I know, it's craziness. But they've already announced that Joe Burrow is not playing this game. So the Bengals are not going for the 1 seed. So that scenario is not happening. They know it's impossible because the Titans have to lose to the Texans and the Chiefs have to lose to the Broncos. Very unlikely scenarios. Just saying, peoples. Now, the Bills have clinched a playoff spot. They're the current lead in the AFC East, but they have not clinched the East yet because they're tied with the Patriots. How do they clinch the AFC East? By winning their game against the Jets. The Jets suck, people. This is not a hard scenario to see happening. Or the Patriots lose to the Dolphins.
J-E-T-S, we still suck.
Or the Patriots lose to the Dolphins. Again, not very likely, even though the Dolphins are a good team. Or the Bills tie and the Patriots tie. So it's kind of simple scenarios. Now, we get even more cuckoo bananas because the Patriots, who are the 5 seed, have a playoff spot, but can still be the 1 seed provided they win, Bills lose or tie, Chiefs lose, and Titans lose.
All right, I take back what I said earlier about this is the craziest. All right, this has got to be the craziest one. Right? No, it's not. I see down your list.
Yeah, they can be the 5 seed. Now they can also clinch the AFCs and not be the 1 seed if they win and the Bills lose or tie, or they tie and the Bills lose. So they can either be the 5 seed or the 1 seed, or anywhere from anywhere 2 through 4 as well. So they can be 1 or 5, 1 through 5 going into the playoffs. They have no idea where they're playing right now. It's crazy. The Colts can clinch a playoff berth. They're the 6th seed. They are not in the playoffs yet, people. They're not in. They can clinch by either winning their game or tying. I don't know who they're playing. Oh, the Jaguars. They're playing the Jaguars. So if you lose this game, Colts, you do not belong in the playoffs. So they can still make the playoffs if the Chargers lose and the Ravens and Steelers tie. Okay? Or if the Chargers lose, Steelers lose, and Dolphins win. Why the Dolphins win means anything to me is beyond me. But if Dolphins win, they make the playoffs. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. But that's the scenario.
Alrighty then.
All right, the Chargers, the current 7th seed, they can clinch a playoff berth if they win or tie against the Raiders. Simple. Win or tie. Do not lose. So essentially, do not lose this game, and you're in the playoffs. The Raiders, the Raiders can. I'll let you say the Raiders for last. The Raiders have an interesting one. I'll go Steelers next. Sorry, I'm going to skip around here because this one's the fun topic that people want to talk about.
All right.
The Steelers can clinch a playoff berth if they win, the Colts lose, and the Raiders and Chargers game does not end in a tie. So if someone wins, someone loses.
Not that far off.
Yeah. All right.
As long as Raiders Chargers does not end in a tie, the Colts lose, which is possible, and the Steelers win. Oh, that can happen.
It can happen. The Colts have to lose to the
Jaguars.
But the Colts have to lose to the Jaguars, though. That's the problem. They have to lose to the Jaguars.
You gotta try to lose to the Jaguars.
I mean, the Jaguars beat the Bills, so crazier things happened this season. Let's just be honest, people.
That's true. That's true.
Now, the Ravens, they can still make the playoffs. If they win, Chargers lose, Colts lose, and the Dolphins lose or tie. Why the Dolphins losing or winning a game means anything to anyone at this point makes no sense. They are not involved in the playoffs. They're out of the playoffs. This doesn't make any sense.
Why do we got to bring the Dolphins into this? Why do they got to bring the Dolphins into this?
NFL.com told me this.
They don't matter.
But NFL.com says this is the case. So this is what happens. All right, so finally the Raiders. The Raiders can clinch a playoff berth if they beat the Chargers. Or they tie and the Colts lose. Simple enough. Or the Colts lose and the Steelers lose or tie. Think about this here. The Raiders and Chargers are the last game of the season. They are game whatever in the year. They're the last game of the season. Mm-hmm. If the Colts lose and the Steelers lose, that game between Raiders and Chargers means nothing to either team. They can both make the playoffs if they both tie. What incentive do they have to play? What incentive do they have to play each other? They can just sit there and just kneel down for 3.5 hours and end the game in a tie, and they both make the playoffs.
You know how much booing is going to happen if that happens?
That has been spoken out into
that stadium's going to be empty. It's going to be empty.
It's been spoken to either by everyone. I was like, hang on a second. The Raiders and Chargers could just kneel down if the Colts lose and Steelers lose and just do nothing the entire game. Actually, they just need the Colts lose.
That's where you put in your third string.
Yeah.
You put in your third string, everybody, and just like, all right, hey, we're not going to injure our good guys. We're going to start in a week or two. We don't need them getting hurt because this game doesn't matter.
Right.
Everybody's in. So this is just exhibition.
Right.
Take it. Just run the ball. Do some lob passes. Whatever. Take it easy because it doesn't matter. You're in the playoffs.
Yeah. If the Chargers lose, if the Jaguars beat the Colts, then we have a crazy scenario that could happen for our eyes Sunday night. It could happen. Even though the head coach of the Chargers, Brandon Staley, says we're playing to win this game. We're playing to kick the Raiders out of the playoffs. That's what we're doing right now. So he said it's not going to happen. But who's to say perhaps two teams playing their hearts out end up in a tie anyway? What if they go into overtime tied and then both teams decide, hey, the best thing for us at this point in time is to not lose this game. We have played hard for 60 minutes. We have 10 minutes to play. Let's just call it a day, and let's just play soft for 10 minutes and just both make the playoffs. That could happen. They could both play their hearts out. Just end in a tie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's almost like, you could theorize that they could just, organize that. Like, hey, this all happened. Let's just make it happen for us.
Hey,
we're going to tie on purpose.
Hey, if you thought last year was bad when the Eagles benched Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter of a game they could win to beat the football team and send the Giants to the playoffs, and when they put Nate Sudfeld in the game in the fourth quarter, who's to say two teams can't tie on purpose? Who's to say?
No one is to say. No one is to say that. I wish I could, but we know what can happen.
Yeah, we've seen dumb stuff in the NFL, and
Goodness.
that is so this could happen. But I do not wish this to happen. I'm just saying it could happen. We must be prepared to yell our heads off about this the next week.
I think we just found the title of this video, Crazy-Coocoo-Banana Playoffs.
Yes.
Please make that happen.
That will be
Crazy-Coocoo-Banana Playoffs.
Yep.
Like that's because that's what this is. You look at and you think, okay, it can't get much worse, but then it does.
Yeah. The AFC makes no sense. The AFC is just crazy land.
No, it's the NFC actually is fairly straightforward.
Yeah. Win your
The
game
AFC
and you're in the
is
playoffs.
Exactly. The AFC is like, oh, we got all this combination of wins and losses and ties, and we could just tie on purpose and all that stuff. And it's like, just fast forward till it's all over.
And somehow the Dolphins matter. The Dolphins who are on the playoffs somehow matter.
The Dolphins somehow can just tear apart some poor team's chances. Just think about that. Dolphins don't matter at all right now.
Yeah.
But they could just be like, you know what? We're going to F it up.
Yeah. We're just going to win this game just because.
Just because we want to.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. So after my love of standings and scenarios, let's get into Thom's favorite topic of college football. And let's get into the college football championship game. Thom, talk to us about this game right here.
No. No,
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not going to watch it. And here's why. The championship game, all right, fine, I'll talk about it, but you're not going to make me watch it. The college football playoff championship game is essentially an SEC championship 2.0.
Uh-huh.
It is the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs, who are 13-1, against the Alabama Crimson Tide, who are 13-1. We have seen this game already.
Yep.
We have seen this already.
Mm-hmm.
Not long ago. Like I said, they played in the SEC championship game. Georgia's only loss is to Alabama, and they played them a month ago.
Uh-huh.
Georgia beat Michigan 34-11 in the first round of the playoffs.
Jeez.
Not even a competition. And Alabama beat Cincinnati, who I really wanted to win.
Yeah.
Because you know my deep-seated hatred for Alabama football. I respect Nick Saban.
Yeah.
I just do not like the program.
Yeah.
It goes back to 2013. We're not going to get into it. I have PTSD over that. Anyway, beat Cincinnati 27-6. The last time these two teams faced off, Georgia and Alabama, Alabama defeated Georgia 41-24. Not even freaking close.
Wasn't
in
the
the
first?
SEC championship
Wasn't it
game.
the first time Georgia allowed more than 20 points in a game in the season? It was
something like that.
Something
Like that. It was how, of course, in the SEC championship game, they just decided to poop their pants.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was. I don't think it necessarily was. I think Alabama is that good. And like I've told you, they're a respectable program. They're always in the hunt. But here's where I have a problem with the seeding. Alabama went from 3, beat Georgia, and went to number 1. And you knew, as the playoff committee, you knew you could have a repeat of that game a month later.
They did that on purpose.
No, I hate that. Because you know what? You're going to get thousands of people like me who are going to be like, no, I don't want to watch that. We've already watched this not that long ago. Why is this going to be any different in a different setting? All you're doing is taking these same two teams that played down south and throwing them in Indianapolis. There's no difference. You're in a dome. You're playing in January in Indiana. No one wants to go to Indiana in January. It's the Midwest. The Midwest sucks right now. We got 40-mile-an-hour winds and snow.
Yeah.
Why would you say why this doesn't, and none of that has to do with this game.
The game's in a dome.
The game's in a dome. Exactly. But we have seen Georgia and Alabama already. The playoff committee definitely and what I just don't like is you had Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati. Right?
Yep.
No. Cincinnati was a 4 seed?
Yeah.
Cincinnati was
Cincinnati was a 4 seed.
4 seed, right? Yeah, which kind of irked me too because they're the undefeated 4 seed, and you've got a 1-loss Alabama ahead of them. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going to get into it anyway. The way it should have worked is you had Georgia lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game, whatever. Michigan moves up to number 1 because they were the 2 seed. Naturally, that should be the progression. But because people like to have their hands in things, the playoff committee said, you know what? We want to give Georgia another chance.
Yep.
And we're just going to let them whoop up on Michigan.
Yep.
And we're going to let Alabama whoop up on poor American Conference Cincinnati. And then we're going to have a repeat in a month and see if anything with Georgia's offense has changed.
Nope. Negative
No, none of that has changed, and so you're not going to have any different of a game. My prediction for it, and I'm not going to watch it, I'm going to wait for the push notification to come on my phone at the end of the night. It's going to be Alabama over Georgia, and it's not going to be close because that is exactly what happened 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. There's actually a video on YouTube from SEC Shorts. If you ever watch the YouTube channel, they are hysterical because they completely rag on teams in the SEC. And it's just crazy. So they have Georgia in the basement with a board about a chalkboard trying to say how to beat Alabama. They're asking Auburn, Texas A&M, Clemson, LSU, all these teams have beat Alabama the last like 5 to 6 years. Say, how did you guys do it? And they're like, you have to have like a generational quarterback, and Georgia's like, we don't have that. Or you have to have like, or you have to have like a home field advantage. You have to have a crowd on your side. Georgia's like, we're playing in Indianapolis. I was like, oh, that's not good. Alabama has to be like supremely favored in the game. They have to be like the favorite in the Vegas odds. Georgia's like, we're favored by 3. Georgia goes, we're favored by 3 points. I was like, oh.
All right, so that's the other thing is we saw. All right, you got me going. We saw Alabama beat the crap out of Georgia.
Georgia's the favorite
last month, and Georgia's the favorite by 3 points. How do you figure that in Las Vegas? Like what the? It doesn't make sense.
What the front door are you doing over there, Las Vegas?
So what happens in Vegas screws with the rest of college football.
Yeah, I mean,
it does not stay in Vegas.
Yeah, so SEC Shorts makes a funny video about this. About Georgia's trying to figure out they've never beaten Alabama in the last like 20 years, something like that. Since Saban got to Alabama, they've never beaten them. So it's a funny video. I highly suggest everyone watch it.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah,
I just laughed like.
You should link it in the description.
I should. It's hysterical. It's just a funny bit of comedy, and they do a lot of stuff like that. So it's good stuff. So
all right, if we can make that happen, just link it in the description. Get the because I mean I watch our own stuff now, so I want to check it out too. Or you can just text me the link.
I will. Yeah, it's funny, guys.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so like Thom said, I have no interest in this game. It's going to be Georgia getting whipped down by Alabama for 2-3 hours. Final score will be like 48-20. It'll be boring as all heck. So. If you want to watch a game,
if it's 48-20, I will mail you a $5. If the exact score is 48-20, I will mail you $5.
Alabama has to win that game. Though if Georgia wins 40-20, we're gonna call it null and void because I was dead wrong on that one. But hey,
if Georgia wins 48-20, I'm gonna dance around naked in my backyard. I'm gonna be so happy that Alabama would actually lose a title game,
right?
Especially to someone that they just beat.
Oh, absolutely, it would be fantastic. If you want to watch the game, though, it's at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, a.k.a. the greatest time zone in all the land, on ESP, CNN. That's how we name them. That's how we call them. Deal with it, peoples.
And it's on Monday.
It's on Monday.
Right?
I forgot about that. It's a Monday night. It's coming up Monday. Of course, to not compete with the NFL, go call their college football because NFL football.
I am just waiting for the article the following day of how low the ratings compared to last year.
It's going to be low.
I think ratings went up last year because no one else had anything to do.
Right.
This was still like, I mean, within the first year, which whatever you want to say about of the whole stay at home thing. Mm-hmm. And so people that were like, oh yeah, you know what else do I got to do on a Monday night? And ratings are always typically high. Mm-hmm. A game like this, I can't imagine it's going to have high ratings. I mean, unless you're a diehard Georgia, diehard Alabama fan, or you have the hope that Alabama's going to lose.
Ratings will be high in the SEC, and that's about it.
Yeah, that is about it. Really, I have zero interest in this game.
No, none.
I
Sorry,
hate
guys. I
football.
know we're a sports channel, but we keep it real, y'all. When we say we don't care, we really mean we do not care about this game all that much.
Nah, not
But
a single.
with that being said, we have a segment that hasn't been on in a while, and we're going to get into that sweet, sweet intro of a big old Tom's Take.
Let's get serious, because this is Tom's Take. You got the music, and I got to wait for my cue now. So tonight's Tom's Take, I'm going to talk about a guy that I have never met, but leads a very interesting life. It's Batman. No, not the actual Batman, not from Gotham City. I'm going to talk about Toby Thomas. He's from Oklahoma. Quite an interesting individual. He is an entrepreneur, very successful, to the point that he has, created and sold companies over the years, and he does not have to, work a set schedule of hours every week now. But he owned a company in college, and got his degree in business and human resources. Has never really used his degree. Um, through owning that company, eventually it got big enough. He started doing national mechanical contracting for data centers and telecom companies. That's mostly what his company was around. And that was really took off by the age of about 28. Is where he uh, kind of hit his stride in being a successful business, to the point where it was like the sole income in his house. Even up till that point, his wife, being a nurse, was the main provider in the home of a consistent income. Anyway, all this by the age of 28. At that point, he owned the 187th fastest growing company in the country, which to be in the top 200 of how many companies that are growing across the nation. This being, I think he said, in 2013, or maybe not even then, maybe 2008. So he's had some time to let this grow. Um, then through his mechanical contracting, he also started a software company, doing like kind of data decision support, in all 50 states and Canada. And again, kind of expanding very quickly. And he was, I think, the in the top 50 fastest growing companies in Dallas. So knowing how many companies actually operate down in the Dallas Fort Worth area, that's really impressive. And this is mainly, I mean, he obviously has his employees, but the idea of it all came from his own mind. And he had been at that point through several years, really reinvesting everything that he got out of the business back into the business, save for a little bit here and there that he was savings, or what he claimed to be uh, claimed as a little bit. And a lot of what I'm getting, as far as his background and everything, comes from an interview with Lunkers TV, which we'll link down in the description. Um, but he tells a story as he's talking about his background and when he realized he kind of was comfortable. Um, he and his wife, his wife called him one day and said, "Hey, the dryer went out. I think we're just going to have to go to a laundromat for a while." And he was like, "No, you can take out a savings and just buy a dryer." And she said, "Can we afford that?" He goes, "Yeah, we can afford that." "Well, how much do we have?" "Oh, we got about $3 million." And she started crying, not because he was hiding that from her, but when she realized that they could live comfortably now. And yes, he was putting a lot of hours and a lot of money into the business, but they were actually able to get something out of it, and not have to feel like they were getting nowhere in their finances. And that's the reason that he started a lot of companies, is he wanted to take control of his finances. Didn't have a lot growing up, but wanted to be in charge of that. And starting your own company was his way of doing that. But it got to the point where it was too much. He was working 100 hours a week. He was missing vacations. He was missing holidays. He was missing birthdays. And at 36 years old, so about 8 years after having this level of success in the 187th fastest growing company, he drove himself to the hospital because he thought he was having a heart attack. He put that much stress on himself that he thought he was having a heart attack. When it started describing everything to the nurses, the doctors, and they said, "You're having an anxiety attack. You're having a panic attack." And I said, "Really?" And like why? He goes, "They said, you tell me. What do you do for work?" I'm like, "I own a company. I work about 100 hours a week." And they said, "There you go." So because of that, he decided to sell this um, software, mechanical contracting, data center support company. Um, and in his mind, he and his wife had this home run number, basically the number that if someone bought this company for this amount of money, we would never have to work again. Great, he's worked this long. You want to be able to get something out of it and be comfortable and especially take off some of that stress that you've just put on. Um, a couple of days before the end of the uh, assessment of the business was supposed to be done, the company came forward and to the dollar offered them their home run number. But they got to talking. They said, and basically, this company wanted to buy them out of finishing out the assessing and going public with their sale, basically being the only company that could buy it. And they said, "No, we really want to see what else is out there." A week later, 36, 37 companies came forward and offered, and three of them had two times what their home run number was. And of course, he didn't say what that was, but basically twice the amount that they would need to have to never have to worry about money again. And he got that. And now he gets to do what he loves. He gets to take a back seat more and watch companies grow. He does a lot of consulting. He does a lot of buying and developing of companies, but has a team of people to work with him. He's not the sole mind behind it, which is awesome. What I think is really cool is he still is a humble guy. He teaches because of the background that he had of not growing up with a lot. He teaches the value of experience, earning your own way, and education to his own kids. He doesn't give them everything that they ever want. He talks about how they have to earn their own way by doing chores or starting their own entrepreneurial uh, endeavors. And one of those ways that he helps him get along with is buying cattle and breeding cattle and selling the cattle and being able to take care of what product, if you will say, that they're going to sell and really grow from. And he said that it's taught them so much discipline that he doesn't really worry about how they're going to turn out, money or not. They got the right mindset to go into to life, and I think that that's really valuable for someone like that. But I mean, the reason I call him Batman, he is called Batman by many, is because of all the different crazy stuff he does. He's an avid outdoorsman. He currently holds the record for most doves killed in a day at 14,000. Wrap your head around that one. He's killed 14,000 doves in a single day. Um, and he owns about 6,000 acres of land in Oklahoma. That's since gone up. I think he just purchased another 1,600 acres. So I think he's up to nearly 8,000 acres of land in Oklahoma. And he buys it, develops it, sells it, and he helps people learn how to ranch, how to really own and help grow up their own land. But then he's been hunting his entire life, and he's a guide for hunting. He takes people on hunts and helps them get the same trophies that he's been able to put on his wall, which is awesome. And then he also is the founder of a company called Battle Springs Ranch, which currently I don't know if it's the largest one in the country, but is the largest privately owned shoot house in the state of Oklahoma, which basically is a place where you know, police forces, military groups, and individuals can take tactical courses, close quarter combat, things like that, but also long range shooting. Because he's got all this land, he allows that to happen, and it's a way that he's using what he's gotten for himself to now give back to others and allow them the opportunity to do the things that he's already been able to do. And a huge part of that now is he is the host of a reality show that he started himself, does it in Oklahoma and I believe California, Florida. called The Save, and it's not out yet. They actually just finished filming a couple of months ago. But what it's about is um, changing people's lives through gestures that they could not have brought, doing things that someone could not have brought to themselves. It's a concept that may have been done before, as it maybe has been overdone, but um, providing surgeries to those who couldn't afford them, um, rebuilding homes for those who have lost them, and really just setting people up for success so that they don't have to worry about things anymore, truly saving them from the situations that they're in. So I'm really interested in seeing that come out. And really, it's just kind of like really drawing everything into what this guy has done. He's come from not a lot, and now he's able to give back to those that don't have a lot. It's really really cool. So there's my take. Toby Thomas, check him out on Instagram. It's Toby underscore Thomas underscore BSR, as in Battle Springs Ranch. And then I'm also going to link the interview to Lunkers TV interview. It's really cool, awesome guy. He's really fun, and also he does actually own a Batman suit. So there you have it.
I love everything about that. I like the background of the guy, and I love the fact he actually has a Batman suit, and that sounds like something I would do if I got crazy rich.
It's the Ben Affleck
Oh
Batman suit
no
though. I
no
don't know
no
if
no
that's
no! I'm on the Christian Bale Batman
but
suit,
oh, also
not
he owns a
Batman.
kangaroo.
Oh my! I
He,
can't.
he
He's
owns a
got a Roo.
kangaroo.
He's got a Roo.
He's got, I think, a high fence ranch where actually hunts. Well, no, I don't know if it's high fence and he owns it all, or it's just legal down in Texas. But he's got axis deer, which are like foreign deer that have been brought into the country. He's got zebras and giraffes on
Oh
his
jeez,
property, so he's got to have a high fence. Right? It's insane.
jeez,
This guy has done it. It's really cool. He's got a six wheeled Jeep Gladiator truck,
jeez.
just because.
Just because.
It's
Yeah,
so like,
someone who's lived the
and this is a
life.
guy I've actually, I know it's a long shot. He doesn't have, I mean, compared to some others that we've talked to, he doesn't have a ton of followers on Instagram and other forms of social media, because he's always running around and doing things and not really focused on, like, being an influencer. But I think he's got like 35,000. And I shot him a message. I was like, hey, tell me more about yourself. I would love to just sit and chat with you. So we'll see what he says. But
Hey,
I mean, even if it just like shooting a message back, like, hey, awesome, here's a piece of advice, because that's what I asked for. It's like it, a guy who answering questions or asking questions, he asked answer them. So he's down to earth. He's willing to talk to folks. So I like seeing people like that.
absolutely. I mean, I do like that he makes that his kids. He taught them life lessons, and instead of saying, "Here's money, go solve your problems," like no, he's saying, "Hey, here's a skill so that you can solve your problems." And money is just something that
Hmm.
you need to get by in life. It's not going to solve your problems. It's just a byproduct what you earn through your
Exactly.
work.
Yeah. He actually in the interview was asked the question, "Are you going to leave your kids all your money?" And he gave that exact answer. I mean, I want them to learn the value of it, but it's not going to be a handout.
Right.
I mean, they need to earn their own way and understand that this is not something to be taken lightly.
Right.
And he also said after he sold that company, he didn't look at his bank account for 9 months because he was afraid that seeing that money actually in his account would change him.
Yep. Yeah, that would be a real concern. I saw a figure that really like, oh my gosh, I can do whatever I want with this.
And again, I don't know how much this is. Obviously, it's millions, but still, it's like you
No.
I can't say that I wouldn't be changed by seeing how many
Yeah.
zeros on the end. I'm like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
let's go have some fun. I'd probably just have to do the same thing, like take what I need up front and then
Yep.
just like not look at it. I need some time to let that settle out.
Hey, take what I need, buy myself a house, and then just go back to doing whatever I normally do at that point. Just be done with it.
You know what? Yeah. Just live comfortably, do what you want to do, as opposed to doing what you feel like you have to.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that's a great Tom take. It's great to have the segment back. Hopefully, we can have more Tom takes if we don't have any more crazy news stories that keep breaking and keep going. Oh my gosh, we gotta talk about this. Oh my gosh, we gotta talk about that. That's what keeps
Let's hope.
happening. That's what
Let's
keeps
hope.
happening. We keep having crazy stuff coming up. But let's go into our Week 18 game of the week, the final game of the week, and of course, we had to choose the game that could be meaningless, but we think won't be because I'm pretty sure the Colts will beat the Jaguars. It's the Chargers versus Raiders. Win and you're in the playoffs. Unless the Jaguars beat the Colts, then you tie and everyone's happy. So Colts beat the Jaguars, so we have a win or go home situation. So we don't have that silly scenario of everyone can tie and kumbayas and holding hands around the campfire. I want to see blood, sweat, and tears for a chance to be in the playoffs.
Exactly. So here we got Chargers versus Raiders. Whose week is it? It's been a while since we've done one of these. So, is it my? I don't know. I thought I lost last.
I think it's your turn this time around. So, what do we do?
Okay, so we're saying, or it's your flipping it?
Yeah, I flip it, and it's
we're gonna go
heads.
Chargers heads, Raiders tails.
Yeah, here's heads is a normal quarter, so heads is Chargers, tail is the Raiders. Here we go.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That was just a silver blur.
I know.
On
it
my
looks
screen.
bad on my screen too. I'm sorry about that, peoples. Oh, good. And lay on the table, and we have you are taking the Chargers and the Hair Bear offense.
All right. I don't really think I have to say anything about it. I mean, if they win, then great.
Yeah.
If they tie, great.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, man.
Well, the Colts.
What am I supposed to?
The Colts have to beat if the Jaguars beat the Colts in this game means nothing, potentially. But if the Colts beat the Jaguars, then it's a game that means everything.
All right. Well, I mean, Justin Herbert leading that offense, scoring 27, over 27.5 points per game. That's a lot. They're in the right side of things there. Definitely more Raiders, but they allow about the same. 26.5, seventh worst. So they're pretty much even.
Yeah.
Which is why this being kind of a push game, it's really not far off. I mean, you've got better offense on the Chargers side, but their defense is lacking. Yeah. So there you have it.
I mean, hey, the Raiders.
That's Tom's take.
That's all I'm saying. Hey, the Raiders, I will say this, are the odd team that's 9-7, but they scored 21.2 points per game on offense and allowed 25.4 for a negative 4.2 points per game differential. Yet they have a winning record. And they lost a head coach, and they lost a receiver. And they're in Las Vegas. Somehow they're a playoff contender. It's just craziness. But the line is Chargers by 3, even though the game's in Las Vegas, which tells you that most people think the Chargers are significantly better than the Raiders. But the Raiders manage to pull rabbits out of the hat like no tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe Derek Carr has one more great game in him to get him in the playoffs. But it would be it would be crazy. But I think the Chargers are the better team. We'll see how that plays out, though, on Sunday night. Colts, please beat the Jaguars.
Maybe neither one is the better team. Maybe neither one is the better team.
Colts, please beat the Jaguars. I want this game to mean something, not just be a meaningless.
Exactly, not just a waste of airtime.
Not someone tying. All right. With all that being said, please follow our Facebook page for updates regarding the show and anything, and also us posting when we're recording. You also reach out to us at Sports and More with CT, capital T at gmail.com. If you have any questions or concerns about the show or comments about, hey, I want that link to this guy's website, or we want that link to the video we talked about and we forgot to put in the description, just let us know. We'll send you the link. That's what we're here for.
Exactly, and I think we should clarify those links are probably going to be in the YouTube description.
Yeah, YouTube description.
So if you're listening to this on the podcast site, the Anchor, Spotify, and all others, I think that's going to be the best place to get it unless you just ask us for it. Yeah. More than happy to do it. I gave Chris everything, so and as long as he gives me the SEC one, then we both have everything we need to send out to whoever wants it. Yeah. So wherever you're at, we can get that to you. Just got to ask. But if you're watching this on YouTube, it's going to be down in the description. Mm-hmm. But again, watch or listen to this anywhere that you can. Obviously, you are because you've gotten to this point in the show and have heard this possibly for the 50, 60th time if you're a consistent listener on our channel. But if you are watching on YouTube, we just ask that you like this video, subscribe, share with everyone you know. And I don't think that you can click the notification bell and toggle the notifications to all, but if you can, please do. We were marked as children's content for some reason.
I didn't do that. I swear I didn't do
that. No, that's just how YouTube, like, they said, no, you can't subscribe to or you can't get notifications for kids content. I'm like, first of all, why not? Second of all, why are we children's content? Anyway, but get the bell on if you can.
And we like to thank all of you, probably the tens and tens of people listening to our ridiculous takes and ramblings on everything regarding Antonio Brown, NFL playoff scenarios, the SEC Championship Game 2.0, and Batman.
Hashtag get Batman on the show. Our next episode's creation date is to be decided. We do not know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. Both kind of busy with work. I know I've got tax stuff going on because bank finance, lovely. But we will let you know when we get the opportunity to record next. I hope you got the Facebook update from yesterday, 2 days ago, for those of you watching this when it actually goes live. I kind of included it in a New Year's resolution video from John Lovell at the Warrior Poet Society. So you had to look for it, but I did tell you. So I'm going to keep letting you know on Facebook as we can for the updates. But until then, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, watch for ice and watch for deer. And above all, stay free.
Sports and More with Chris and Thom is brought to you by no one. All non-original thoughts and ideas were properly noted during each segment.